What's up, y'all? I'm Reed the Fishmonger, and today I'm going to teach you how to fillet black sea bass and some of my thoughts on this delicious fish. They like eating crabs and shrimp, clams, which give them just a delicious tasting meat. They are a lower fat content, so the shellfish flavor doesn't fully come out, but it's a nice subtle sweetness. This fish, I would say, is one of the most similar fish in the ocean to a hogfish. And as you guys know, there's plenty of people in South Florida that say hogfish is the best fish in the whole damn ocean. Well, if they haven't had black sea bass, maybe they should try it. They might have found their next favorite. These fish have edible skin. Just want to take the scales off first. We're camping, so we've got a nice spoon here that'll do the trick. You want to just get a good grip on your spoon, and we're using the broad side. And when you're getting into a corner, like right along the dorsal fin, you're going to use this part of the spoon right here. And that takes the scales off super easily. And when you get the skin crispy on these fish with that sweet, delicious meat, it is just absolutely phenomenal. When you're scaling, you want to make sure you're also getting all the scales around the pectoral fin and pelvic fin, because we're going to remove those collars and eat those too, because nothing is going to go to waste on this fish. All right, time to cut her up. On these black sea bass, just like most fish, there's a good amount of meat behind the head that you don't want to miss out on. And good amount of meat's an exaggeration, but it's there and we don't want to lose it. So we're going to go behind the head at a hard angle like that. Not straight down, but you want your knife angled to go right behind that forehead bone. Typically, we would flip our knife around like this and puncture out right in front of that pelvic bone. We're not going to do that because we did not gut these fish, and we want to make sure we do not puncture through the ribs, getting any of the bile from the guts on the fillet. So this, for those of you who asked how to fillet and not get any of the guts on, this is going to be a great tutorial for that. We're going to flip our knife around, use the tip of the knife right at that opening, slide all the way down the dorsal fin. Now we're going to rest our knife right on top of the skeleton and pull towards the head. So you can see that one motion brought us right to the center, and that skeleton guided our knife. So you want not a hard angle down, just a gentle angle, so that way it's pressing on the skeleton, not cutting through it, but you're not losing any of the meat as well. Little flick there. Now we want to go to the top of the spine. Once we're at the top of the spine, we can lift on that meat harder without tearing any of the meat. Tip of the knife, base of the ribs. We don't want our knife levitating, we want it pushing on the skeleton. Angle your blade slightly up and push forward. What we just did was separated the connection of pin bones made to the ribs without cutting through any of those rib bones, exposing this beautiful meat to any of that bile inside of the guts. Now, we're going to do one nice motion so we can get a higher lift on our fillet without tearing any of that beautiful meat. We're going to dip our knife right on the other side of that spine. We're going to do it again. Now we have the whole thing filleted. We just need to get over the ribs without cutting through the ribs. So we're going to gently push along those rib bones, letting the knife do all of the work. Just like that. And you've got your beautiful black sea bass fillet. We went over the ribs, did not cut through them, so all of the guts and gook that you don't want on your meat is still left right in there. Flip it over, pick up the fin, go behind the head at an angle. We're going to stop right at the top of that pec fin, because we don't want any of that guts going over our meat. Tip of the knife right at that opening. We're going to slide all the way down. And on this side, because there's more of a curve on the second side, I'm going to push on the belly a little bit, and that's going to lift the fillet. So that way I can rest my knife on top of the skeleton and slide down on a more flush surface. Once you're to the center, tip of the knife, base of the ribs, angle your knife slightly up. And what we just did was separated the connection the pin bones make to the ribs. Now we're going to dip the tip of our knife on the second side. And now the second side is also filleted. we're going to gently rest our knife on top of those rib bones and slide down them. And this is a great example here. This is the bottom of the rib bones. If the fish was not gutted, once you're to the bottom of the rib bones, we could cut hard down, getting all of that belly meat. But since the guts are still in there, we're going to still gently work over it. Close it up, give it a little flick, and there's your beautiful black sea bass fillet. We even got the belly meat on this one without puncturing any of that belly. Removing the pin bones are skin-on fillets. If you don't want to cut through the skin, this is what you do. We're going to find the last pin bone, dip our knife right in front of it, and pull all the way down. Do the same thing to the other side. Now we're going to rest our knife on top of the skin and give it a little scooping motion just like that. Little scooping motion just like that. This whole piece of pin bone line will lift up. Now we've got all of the pin bones removed and the skin still intact. So that way when you make your beautiful presentation as a dish with crispy skin, you can have the skin side up. It'll look great without having any cuts through where the pin bones were. We'll put these on ice for now. All right, this one we're gonna go a little faster because you already saw how to fillet it. We're gonna get to the skinning part. Pick up the fin, go behind the head at an angle. We're just gonna puncture right here. Don't wanna cut through those rib bones. Slide all the way down on top of the dorsal fin. Rest our knife right on top of the skeleton, pull towards the head. Tip of the knife, base of the ribs, angle it slightly up. Separate the connection of pin bones make to the ribs, go to the top of the spine. That way you can dip on the other side without losing any of that delicious meat. Now we're going to gently ride right over those rib bones without getting any of the belly bile on the meat. Flip it over. Go behind the head at an angle. Twist it around. Tip the knife right at that opening. We're going to slide all the way down, just like that. Rest our knife right on top of the skeleton. Pull towards the tail. Let the skeleton guide your knife. Little incisions at the top of the spine. Second side. Tip of the knife, base of the ribs, angle it slightly up. Separate the connection of pin bones make to the ribs. That way we can slide down those rib bones nice and easy without getting any of the rib bones in our fillet. Close it up, little flick, and there's your beautiful black sea bass fillet. We're gonna rinse off this table a little bit with a little bit of our well water. Good to go. We don't want any fresh water touching our fillets, so that's why we're working hard to keep the space really clean, so that way there's not gook all over our fillets when we're done, so we don't feel pressure to rinse off our fillets with fresh water. So now for skinning these fillets, we want to get a good grip right at the tip. We're going to start off at a hard angle, then as you get under the meat, we're going to flatten out our knife, just like that. Get a good grip on that skin. When you're skinning a lot of fish, I like having my knife flat or with the slightest angle down with a little bit of pressure applied. That way any of the blood that was left between the meat and the skin is removed. On these black sea bass, they're kind of like hogfish. There is almost no blood between the meat and the skin. And we bled these fish while we were fishing with Tackle to the People. So I can scrape with a deeper cut. A deeper cut means harder angle down, which means I can skin this fish with a deeper cut. A deeper cut means your knife is at a harder angle down. I'll show you. Knife angled down the entire time. And we scraped all the silver and meat off of the bottom of that skin. And you can see it right here. This silver, totally edible and good for you. And as you can see, we scraped the crap out of that skin and there's no blood in that meat at all. So for those of you all out there that don't like fishy fish, you really should try black sea bass. It has a subtle, sweet, mild flavor, no fishiness at all. And it competes with the home team favorite, the hogfish. You guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a killer day.